We all remember that special teacher, the one who not only taught us how to study, but also brought out our personal best. Teachers are leaders, mentors, and change makers.
Get your tickets at any DC Lottery retailer or online at dclottery.com today.
This episode is brought to you by Hyperice, the leader in advanced warm-up and recovery technology.
Sharing is never easy. Everyone fights over who gets what, and someone always ends up left out. Not at Burger King. Our new Share Box is the perfect afternoon snack. And with something for everybody, what's not to love? Burger King, making choices easier.
Putting them in prison just for them to break out with the next supervillain doesn't work. We let you rule this city with an iron fist. I am this city.
Hello, thank you for calling the Circus Intelligence Agency. How can I help you?
Agent Giggles, this is Jingles, head clown in charge. We need to investigate the missing cotton candy. Codename Operation Popcorn.
Aha! The red light is on, so you know what that means. Hello. I've missed you. It's been a while. Took a brief respite, hiatus. Took some time out for myself. How about that? But we are back. And thank you all. It has been a year since this podcast debuted. And I put a video out a while ago thanking all of the folks who subscribe and tune in and comment and all that good stuff. So I just want to reiterate, thank you. But my guest, why am I enunciating so hard? I don't understand. I feel goofy today, so that lets you know it's gonna be a good show. He hails from this triple-lettered region of the country. It encompasses the District of Columbia, the state of Maryland, and the Commonwealth of Virginia. That take too long to say. So he's from the DMV. And this brother has a unique story, as all of our stories are, but I think his is you stick around and you learn something today. We gonna trip out and have some fun, but I think when we're done, you'll be like, I think I like him. I like him. He wouldn't be on the show if I didn't like him. I don't just be bringing folk, except for that one. No, it doesn't matter. Terry Briscoe joins us today.
What up? What up? What up?
See, didn't I tell you things would happen? My light just fell. I told him pregame, I said, you never know what's going to happen on this show. And all of a sudden, the light, because I got a light over here, and then I had a light that was right there, and it just kind of slid down like, I want to lay on the table. But actually, that
That
looks
looks pretty good though, bro. Might want to take a little screenshot there.
You stay classy. You stay classy, Las Vegas. But yeah. We're gonna actually have an interview. I promise you. I promise you we are. I promise you it's going to happen today. Terry hails from, like I said, the DMV area. A place that is near and dear to me because it's kind of where I cut my teeth in becoming a man. In my early 20s, I lived in the DMV. Lots has changed in those 25 or so years. Lots have changed. Man, I was like, this is not the DC I know. But we're here to talk about him, not me. Terry, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing fantastic, man. How you doing?
Well, you already heard my day, lights falling and stuff, and
Just happened to work out in your favor though.
it really did. Hi there. This melanin is brought to you by God. But the ultimate sponsor.
Well,
We ain't gonna have no show. We are gonna have a show. We are going to have a show.
it's gonna happen. I believe in you.
So yeah, man. Glad to finally get you on here. Terry has a podcast as well, and we're gonna talk about that too. And discover how it all came about. And, you know, there are many people in this industry that have studied in the theater or in the arts of some form or fashion, be it music, acting, they were stage hands, they were puppeteers, what have you. Um, you're a truck driver.
Yeah. Yeah.
How does one roam the great highways and byways of the US and go, maybe I want to hop on the mic for a little bit and do a little something? Were
Well,
you
actually,
were you
yeah.
in the arts in your formative years and made a comeback, or how did that even like, this is what I want to do?
Well, it started when I was a young tyke, but but I digress. You actually missed the point from when I went from a bus driver. I mean, from a truck driver to a bus driver first, and
Oh,
then
so
after I
a career shift and then a career shift
and then
to a
another
career
career
shift.
shift,
Oh, this is fascinating.
another career shift.
Buckle up, everyone. Here we go. So, you were driving in the mean streets of the metropolitan cities.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I was a local truck driver for a company called Standard Supplies, and I used to drop off construction supplies around our fine cities and counties. And I was like, you know what? This is not paying me enough money, and the benefits are not fantastic for me to be able to take care of my family the way that I wanted to.
Right on.
But being a transit bus driver in my county that I live in Montgomery County now.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
it's a government job here, so you get government benefits, good
Yes.
ones, them good ones, right? And when I started driving for Ride On, you got 9% increase a year.
Wow.
That's unheard of. It's look, it made you cough.
Whoa.
Oof,
That took
got
my breath.
got a little something there.
I
Yeah,
mm.
yeah, yeah. That didn't last long though, but it was it was
But for the time being, you was
man,
caking.
it was popping. I was like, okay, great. Yeah, yeah. So I drove the bus for 6 years before I got sick. And then when I got sick, I had to make another career change to non-emergency medical transportation and started my own company. So that consists of me basically taking people to their doctor's appointments when they're on workman's comp.
Ah,
I actually passed my 10-year mark for I still actually have my company and still operate it. So I passed my 10-year mark this year. Golf clap.
how about that? No, that deserves more. That's my ex brother-in-law used to drive for a company similar. It was called Ambucar, and they basically had these vans that were straight out of Mother Jugs and Speed. Um, Google it, kids. And
That's a deep cut right there.
I that's one of my favorite movies. It is not one of those it's a classic story of
Nah, ain't none of that.
it's none of that. None
Nothing.
of that at all.
It's like
But they
Clyde.
had so if you remember Mother's van, it was very souped up and had all the bells and whistles, and that's kind of what Ambucar was, because I would sometimes go on ride-alongs with him, and he's like, check this out. As long as he put on the little, anybody gonna bother? Like, that's
But no,
medical. Let him through it. We just flying. Like, this is a 35 and we doing like 75. Like, and as a 11-year-old kid, you're like, this is great.
awesome.
And he would go and pick people up, and the side door had the little for the
Mm,
wheelchair folk, and put
yep,
them in, and
yep.
he's like, all right, so we're going to Villa Maria. Yes, I'm going to Villa Maria, so and so and so and so. And now while they're in there, he's obeying the laws of the land,
For
30,
sure.
35 in the residential, and perhaps maybe up to 55 on the highway.
Perhaps.
This is before 65, so it was 55. So, but as soon as he drop them off, we just peel out. Like, this is a cool job. So to hear someone else embark on something similar to you don't be peeling out in your vehicles, do you? I
No,
mean,
man, I use my own car.
oh
All my patients are ambulatory. So your former brother-in-law, it was probably he had stretcher service and wheelchair service, correct?
yeah,
Yeah, you can make a big bank. Yeah, you can make a lot of money doing that, man. Especially
yeah,
if you got a couple cars on the road.
yeah. So but that's interesting. So we go from, the government job, because that's one of the things that people tell you, man, if you work for the city or the government, you gonna make plenty of paper. Which is there's
I mean,
truth.
it's not wrong. Not wrong. I made
There's
more
some
money than I ever made in my life when that last year that I was working there. Well, the year before the last year I was working there, I made more money than I ever made in my life.
he was like, "And I get paid to do this?" There's a
So,
segue coming up with that,
whew,
because your current profession now, I'm sure you've gotten texts where you went, "I get paid to do this?" So
you can't gonna believe it. Well, you
and you
would.
and you don't have to drive a car to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So,
Yeah.
you're out here now. I would assume that if you have had several jobs that required you to be on the road, you like to drive?
Oh my god, I hate driving so much. Been here, you been here. You ain't boy driving in the DMV.
Not the answer I just knew he was gonna be like, man, there's something about the love of the road and hearing the asphalt under your tires.
Yeah, if you could hear it, but I live in the DMV, brother. You ain't moving nowhere fast here. You ain't going nowhere fast. That's where you going here.
You
This
killed
traffic, man, we got out here, man. You already know.
oh, I know. Yeah.
Different animal out here. I
Yeah.
hate it. I used
Like
to come
right
home.
now, you're 3 hours ahead of me. It's people cussing on 495. Route 50 is probably like this.
Oh, nobody's moving on 50 right now.
Yeah, I don't miss those days at
Yeah,
all. I
me too.
I do not. Yeah, and
I don't
going
go nowhere, Trey. That's why I'm going nowhere. Everybody's like, "Hey, come to my birthday party." I'm like, "Man,
no,
I'm
no,
not going out there
no.
at this time. 4 o'clock, that's my limit."
There
Like,
you
I'm not
go.
after 4 o'clock.
Well, we learned something, kids. He's a driver, but he hates driving. How about that? It's like they say, "Hey, if you like sausage, don't go to a sausage factory."
Yeah,
It's you go, "This is oh, all right." So, now that we know that you loathe the job that you're working, um, you made the decision to go into business for yourself, doing a job that you pretty much don't like. Um, why?
well, that's the transition, isn't it?
That is correct.
The transition.
That's the
So,
segue.
I was the bus driver, and I got sick. I discovered that I had multiple sclerosis. And that's a pretty dangerous job to have when you have multiple sclerosis.
Yes.
Probably don't want to drive a bus full of people and their grandmothers and babies and stuff, when you can't guarantee your health that day. So I had a friend that was an actual bus driver as well, and he had several senior centers, and he also provided the transportation for the residents where he
Mhm.
took them, he does what I do, and he's like, man, I'm gonna help, I'm gonna look out for you. So I was like, "What you talking about?" He's like, "I'm gonna show you how to do this business where you can make the amount of money that you need to be able to make, and you can call your shots as far as your hours are concerned, so that when you don't feel well, you don't have to work."
Nice.
And I said, "I love you so very much.
Huh.
Thank you, thank you, brother. I appreciate you forever. I'm gonna call him after I get off with you, um, because that man saved my life, in a way. You know what I mean? I was able
Yeah.
to continue working. I thought I was gonna have to just take Social Security and just rolled up and die somewhere, man. I didn't know
Oh, wow.
hey, bro, when I first found out that I had MS, I didn't even really honestly know what it was. So
Mhm.
I was I feared for my life when I got the diagnosis because I just didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And I got educated, National MS Society, etc. Anyway, when that is when I started my business, and 10 years ago, and yeah, I'm still doing it when I feel like I'm doing the thing now where I do voiceover as my main gig, and my transportation company is, that's my side money.
I like it. You
Yeah,
know, Warren Buffett, if anyone to listen to, he said you need to have a few streams of income.
100%.
And with the new regime that's coming in, you better have a whole bunch of income coming in, cuz
Yeah, yeah.
but this is not that kind of show. If you know what I mean. So talk about that because I have I remember uh Montel Williams talking about he had it. I believe Lola Falana had it.
Oh, I
Uh,
didn't know.
yeah, I believe so. I believe it was either her, and I could be wrong, but I know a couple of celebrities of color had mentioned that they had MS.
My man Mike Bass from Boys to Men. That's why he stopped touring.
That is correct. So for the uneducated, um, go into that a little and just explain, what it is. How did you find out? Um, did you feel a certain way? It was like, okay, this doesn't feel right, or they just took a battery of tests and was like, hey, we need to talk to you. Go into that a little bit and explain to the folks just exactly, what you're dealing with.
Sure. Okay, so what it is actually, multiple sclerosis is an autoimmune disease. And when your chargers get old and the wires, you can see the wires through the casing,
Hmm.
your nerves also look like that in a way inside your body. They have this sheath called a myelin sheath covers your nerves. And multiple sclerosis where your body attacks the coating. Therefore, it interrupts the signals from your brain to the rest of your body.
Hmm.
You get it in the brain and spine, and I have both, um, which is yeah, but I was fortunate enough, and actually this story is one that could have taken me away, but actually gave me life as well. So, you asked how I knew. I had had a tooth removed,
Wow.
and, it broke a bone inside of my face when they removed the tooth because my teeth are huge, apparently. So, I thought I was having numbness in my hand. And it was right after I got the tooth removed. So I was like, all right, it had to be nerve damage from the tooth being removed, right? And so um, I'm driving one day, and I so happened to have a layover at the same time my daughter had an event at school. So I was gonna go see her to sing the chorus song. Like, all right, I'm hop back on my bus after lunch and just continue on. So
Yeah.
I'm running across the street, and my legs just gave out. So I'm in the street, and it just so happens the street that I'm on. It's not a long hill, but it's enough of a hill where you can't see if anything is in the street if you're
Oh
up the hill,
boy.
right? And I'm literally in the middle of the street, just no legs whatsoever. So luckily, I was in the army when I was a young man. I know how to low crawl, and so I just low crawl myself to the median, and I sat there for about 15 minutes, got my and then the feeling came back, and I was like, "What the hell was that?" Like, I've never
Damn.
yeah, yeah, so that could've my story could have ended right then and there,
For
right?
real.
Yeah, for real, in a bad way. So, I, being a black man, don't go to the doctor. Don't go to the doctor. I'm like, it'll pass, right? But it didn't pass. And so I started feeling numbness in my toes as well. And so, okay, I was like, hey, dentist, you broke my face and now I can't feel parts of my body. So what's going on with that?
Right.
See him, he's like, "This is not nerve damage. You need to go to see your primary." At
Yes.
this point, I don't even think I had a primary, man. I just like accepted it for the doctor, right? I just never looked at I had to have a physical once a year because I was a bus driver, and for the
Yeah.
DOT physical, you have to have I was like, "Why I need to go twice?" Right? I just go
Mhm.
get the DOT physical every year, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems very logical, right? So I get a primary. Primary's like, "You need to go to the neuro." And I'm like, "Oh."
Mhm.
Oh, okay, so I pick a random neuro just because 'cause they're close, And I go to see her, and she was like, "All right, you have something that's called transverse myelitis." And almost every patient that has transverse myelitis eventually will have multiple sclerosis.
Wow.
And I'm clutching the pearls. I'm like, how long do I have? Like,
Right.
for real, dude. Like, how long? The only because at that point in time, the only research that I'd ever done, or like not even research, the only thing that I knew about MS was Richard Pryor. And
That's
as you
another
know,
one.
he
Yeah.
got very bad. He got it bad because he got discovered later on in life. And when that
Mhm.
happens, it's like almost a, you know, I don't want to say it's a death sentence, but it's a much worse case when
Sure.
you get caught later on. So they pretty much diagnosed me with having MS before I even had MS. So falling out in that street saved a lot of my functionality that I currently still have because I started getting treated very, very early to
Mhm.
before I even had it. So get hooked up with a neuro specialist, man. I'm telling you, these doctors are boy. So I went to the neuro, told me she's like, go get admitted to the hospital, go get a spinal tap and all the tests. Yeah, yeah, face that you made. I don't know if you've ever had one before, but I don't
I
recommend.
I know people who have, and
I recommend
the
to not.
description that it's like I'm one who I am not a fan of needles, period. So,
Pray if I could show you if I could show you that needle they have to put in your spine. Oh boy.
nope, this will be a short podcast because I will be on the floor like,
This how bad it was. I'm not gonna this is the worst experience I've ever had in my life. But I just told you that I got my face broken getting a tooth pulled. Right? That I had to make my wife leave the room. I had to make my wife leave. This lady literally put her leg up on the table to get leverage. And you can't take any medicine because you have to be fully able to function, right? So then you do the hug like this and you bend your back over like that. Just that actually hurts because I have a thing. But so you can expose your and then they just you can hear it pop when they put it in. And the gauge is so thick. You're like, and then they had them run extra tests. So they took extra spinal fluid out as they do most people. Um, yeah, it felt like they were snatching my soul. That's what it felt like.
when I tell you right now I am lightheaded.
Oof,
Woof, because
yeah.
I you know, I have sciatica. I could not imagine if they was like, "Yeah, so we need to inject." No, you not.
Oh, no, 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 they don't inject. Inject feels better. They need to remove spinal fluid. They need to that's 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 the bad part. It's not even the needle. It's the when they start taking it out of you, and you're like, "Oh." I told you I had to make my wife leave her like, you cannot hear me sounding like this. You have to leave. So, get out of here. Let these people do what they need to do." Anyway,
I
so
I feel like texting my wife now like, "Just come hug me, please." That's a lot.
here's the kicker, right? So they get the spinal fluid, they run tests. I'm staying over in the hospital. Neurosurgeon comes in. Guys like, "You have a tumor in your spinal column, and we need to operate, and it's a 50% chance that you'll walk again." And I'm like, "Come again? What was that?"
And all
Uh,
this from a tooth being
oh,
pulled.
it's from a tooth being removed. And so I called my mother. My mother had worked in the medical industry in this area for 50 years. And she knows all the doctors and all the things and stuff. And I was like, "Mom, this dude just told me that I have a spinal tumor and they're gonna have to operate like immediately and yeah, I might not walk." And she was like, "What's this doctor's name?" I was like, "Dr. Singh." She was like, "I don't know him." So then, I know I'm making my mother sound like that she's a sage old black woman, but I'm mixed. My mama a little tiny white lady, right? she like she like, "I don't know them. You need to you need to contact this guy and go seek him." And I contacted the dude, right? My man's waiting list is like 5 months. And I was like, "Mom," and he was like, "Don't worry, I got you, baby. I got you." So she calls the dude, like, "Yeah, appointment next Tuesday."
What?
I go up in there.
Mama
Man,
G.
she's a straight up G. When it comes to that industry, she's a straight up G. And so I go see this dude. This dude is one of the top neurosurgeons in the world, right? Yeah,
Wow.
he's a G. And he looked at me. I was in there for 5 minutes, man. He looked at he was like, "That is not a tumor." He's like, that is a oh man, lesion. That's what you get. That's what they're called. The spots of dead nerves or whatever that the
Yeah.
MS affects. He's like, you have a lesion in your spine, and this is 100% going to be MS. And I was like, I don't think I've ever been happier to have someone tell me.
Right.
I was like,
So
that was a positive.
no tumor, but
No
you
tumor,
still have a lesion.
but for the rest of your life, you're gonna have to deal with this thing.
Yikes.
So I then got myself an MS specialist and went to go see him, and he was like, ironically, and this is how weird the universe is. When I was in the army as a young man, I used to work at Walter Reed Hospital in DC. I was trained first to be a cook, and then second to be a diet tech. So I knew how to cook all of these foods for all of these specific things.
That explains a lot, and you know it. We'll get into that as
Yeah,
well.
we'll get into that in a
Please continue.
minute. So he was like, you seem like a person that is, pretty in shape, you seem like a person that can do this diet, and you need to start doing this diet because I can't even give you medicine yet because you haven't got an official diagnosis, but you can start doing this.
Right.
I was like, all right, lay it on me. And so this is called the Swank MS diet, right? So I started doing this. You cook your own foods. Basically, you're gonna eat white fish and skinless, boneless chicken breast, and that's the only meat that you can have for a year.
Whoa.
Now you know me, Trey. Like when it comes to when it comes to this thing that we do, right? But I did it. I did it, and here's the other story. So you know me, I'm not a big dude. You met me. I'm not a big dude. I'm 5'9", 175 pounds, right? I had always wanted to be running back size when I was growing up, man. I wanted to be 200 pounds,
Hey,
5'9",
Tony
200.
Dorsett was 178
Well,
pounds.
yeah, but the linemen were also 260 back then.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, times is different.
Yeah.
But 5'9", 200, that sounds like every running back you ever wanted in your life, right? Every running back that came from the U, 5'9", 200 pounds, right? Right, or
Well,
right around there.
Edgerum's a little bigger.
Yeah, yeah. Davenport was a little bit bigger.
Davenport's a little bigger, but,
Yeah,
Larry Jones, but that's Clinton Porter's-ish.
yeah. That's all those. Yeah, that's exact right. I was 198 pounds when I fell in that street. I was 198 pounds.
So you lost.
I lost 36 pounds in like, I want to say 6 weeks, man. I lost 36 pounds in like 6 weeks, man. And it was just straight healthy. It was just cutting out dairy. And I love dairy. A lot of grown folks don't like. I love dairy, man. I love dairy. I used to drink milk and a honey bun, man. My boys will tell you from back in the day.
Bruh, I literally, I kid you not, I just had, maybe right before I got sick, some vanilla ice cream, and I heated up a honey bun.
Chef's kiss, baby. That's right there.
And I had not had a honey bun in a dog's age, but if something just I'm like, "You know what?
Every once in a while.
Go and get your honey bun,
Come on,
bro."
get a honey bun, man.
And it just took me back to growing up in Miami because my sister, I don't know if she still does, but that was like her after school thing every day. That chick had a honey bun,
Yes.
and, I would, like, sneak and get like, just take the glaze because I ain't wanna pinch it because she know I got it, so I just take the glaze and like,
Just the finger. Just the fingertip.
"Yeah, you ain't my honey bun?" "Nope."
No.
"Wasn't me."
What you talking
Mm.
about?
Nah, that wasn't me. Didn't do it.
So yeah, so since then I got, my official diagnosis like 2.5 years later after that. And I first thought, oh, take it. I was still driving the bus at the time, mind you.
Mm.
For the first 3 years, my doctor was like, you need to retire. You need to retire. I was like, I'm 34. I have and I have a 4-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 7-year-old,
Oh
and a
wow.
17-year-old. I
Oh
can't
wow.
retire. Like, I can't retire, man.
Ooh.
I physically cannot retire. And so I suffered for them 3 years, man. Suffered for those 3 years. I used to have to my first medication that I took, it was a shot, and it felt like getting stung by a bee every day in a different part of your body. So you had to take 2 shots. I was taking shots here, taking shots in the stomach. You had to move it every day, taking shots in the thigh. And like I said, when you don't have a lot of meat on your bones, man, you don't.
You gotta find some.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah, man, them things, ooh, they hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was doing like 15, 16-hour days sometimes driving the bus, man, because I was like, man, the money was so good on overtime. It was so good, so good. But then that last year, a doctor was like,
I ain't gonna tell you no more.
he was like, do you want to be in a wheelchair?
Oh,
I was like, I don't want to be in a wheelchair.
it got real, real.
And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna retire and applied for Social Security and stuff. That last year made it a little easier to walk away. That was that year where when you walked outside in the morning, and it was 9 degrees,
Mhm.
and it was like that the whole winter long, man. That's when I retired.
Mhm.
Yeah, yep, I can't.
That that hawk was hitting you in the back of the head. You still wanna work? You still
Boy,
wanna work? Nah, I'm good.
like, no, I'm good. Tap out, tap out.
You
You-
still wanna work? No. You ain't got to
Oh,
tell me twice. You ain't gotta tell me twice.
luckily, I am one of the few people that have MS, and this is a huge problem in this country. Over 1 million people have MS. And most people that apply for disability can't get it because of just how the medical system is. My doctors took immaculate notes. I had 2 different specialists, actually 3 different specialists, um, where my problems lied in my feet and, my hands and I have something called a Lair meat sign, which is look it up. It ain't fun. Um,
Mm.
yeah, so because they kept those immaculate notes, I was able to get approved, right? So starting my transportation company, I didn't need to work full time. I just needed to make enough money that the amount of money that they allow you to make to bridge the gap, and then that's what
Mhm.
we've been off of for the last decade. And
Wow.
voiceover came COVID time, or
Ah,
I'm a COVID baby.
you're a COVID baby.
I'm a COVID baby.
So
Yeah.
between that time, you know, you get the diagnosis. Um, how did your you know, I thought about something you said. Um, most African American men, for whatever reason, we and doctors do not have a great relationship. We don't go. I go, but it's like, man, what you about to tell me? Because we've seen our fathers and grandfathers, in, they go at the last second, and then they got all this stuff, and we like, well, Grandpa, why you ain't go to the doctor? Then we become adults, and now we hear, baby, you need to get you an appointment. I'm gonna do it, baby. I'm gonna do it. 2 years later, you need to get you, and then when you don't go, and then things happen when you go. Now you have the unenviable task of having to go tell your family, hey, y'all, I need y'all to sit down. I got something to tell you, and it ain't gonna be fun.
Yeah.
What was that like, um, having to face that in front of everyone and be like, this gonna be the new norm, yo?
Let me say one thing before I get into that. Something because you just mentioned. Um, as a result of that mentality that we have, I lost my brother this year.
Wow.
He's only 52 years old because he just refused to go to the doctor. And then when he finally was forced to go, he didn't listen to doctor's orders. He wasn't taking care of himself. And it took him, and that kills me, right? Like,
Yeah.
go to the doctor,
Sorry
brothers.
to hear that, man.
Go to the doctor for real. Do what you got to do to be there for your family. Um, Do not do what I did at first. Do what I'm telling you to do now. Go to the doctor. Go to the doctor. Now, on to what you said. Um, I'm sorry.
Nah, that's cool, man.
Didn't tell my family at first. I told my wife. I've had a messed up back for, I played, a lot of sports, had a messed up back for quite some time. So when I was in the hospital, we just kind of described, my wife is not of that. She did not want to tell the children.
Oh.
So for the 3 years that I was still, that last 3 years, we didn't tell the children for like 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Um, so I just ate that for like 6 years, man, because she didn't want them to feel, you know, but it's a double-edged sword, right? You don't want your kids to worry, but at the same point in time, they need to know why daddy can't do what daddy does all the time. Like, but this is what I'm used to, dad being able to, we
Yeah.
hop on pop. We do, you
Yeah.
know. Dad is the one that takes us to the woods to go, walking and hiking and to the river of beauty, as they call it. Like, I'm the one that did all those things. My wife's not an outdoorsy type person. So I'm the one that took them to the park. I'm the one that did all of that kind of stuff. And then, once you kind of get you off of that a little bit where you can't do everything all the time,
Mhm.
you don't want them to feel like, is it something that I did? Daddy don't want to be around. He don't want to go out, hang
Yeah.
out with me no more. I'm like, that's where I was coming from. But, you know, some things they said, listen to the woman. I think they said that in the movie once.
Yeah.
So I did. I listened to the woman, and we didn't tell them for a while until they were old enough to understand.
That movie, by the way, was White Men Can't Jump,
For sure.
where Sydney is telling Billy, listen to the woman.
Listen,
And he did not listen, and
he
we
did
know
not.
we know what happened there.
He did not listen to the
He
woman.
did not.
So yeah, that was a difficult part. That was a difficult time in my life for many different reasons. But yeah, having to, I'm not a, I'm a hard on my sleeve. Tell you, if you ask me a question, I'm gonna tell you like
Yeah.
plain and simple. I don't lie. Like, anybody will tell you, like people have known me my whole life, and they're like, Terry does not lie, like, ever, because I don't got it within me to keep track of all this BS. So I just tell you the truth off the break, and then whatever happens, happens, and then I'll just let the chips fall where they may.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, so all that hiding just wasn't in my DNA, but I did it because listen to the woman.
Now, how did they respond?
As you would have thought that nothing happened. I don't think they they quite understood the the severity of what I was telling them, because they were like, "Okay." And I said, "All right then. So, do you understand?" I'm like, "Yeah, we understand." Oh, this generation, they different, man.
Yeah,
They different.
yeah, you can tell them, hey, just want to let you know that so and so died. We all shit. I don't know what to do. They just like, oh,
Wow.
okay, and Nickelodeon, and then they just like, are you sad? I'm sad. Can I order pizza? Like it's like,
It's the attention span. It's the attention span, man. And they're girls too, so they were
uh,
teenage girls. Like, I'm blessed by having all girls. Like, I have, my stepdaughter, um, girl. I have 2 girls, and then my granddaughter also, little Scorpio girl. So that's crazy.
you
She's doing
got it.
very good right now, though. She's usually bouncing off the walls after school, but she's actually doing a great job right now.
How old is she?
9.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
the high energy years.
Yeah. I'm not the one, no, I'm not the one. I am Abba, and I don't gotta do all of that. I get to sit back and chill, and every once in a while, she'll be like, you know, dial that
Yeah.
dial that down a little bit, but have
I'm
fun.
glad that you're here, but well, time for you to go. You go that way.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's wild. So now we can take the deep dive into the other extreme. Um, COVID hits, and that's another thing too, because I'm as I sit here and I'm like, okay, this brother got MS. How like when the COVID outbreak happened, what went through your mind? Like, okay, I got enough shit going on, and now here this man. Like, did you just stay at the house? Like, look, I ain't doing nothing. Like a Harlem Nights. Old boy was stuck in the safe. You just taking little quick breaths. Like what? And I want to make light of it because I know it's so serious. But what when this pandemic began, um, were you in any danger?
um, I mean, we were all in danger, but it is not great because my immune system, my medicine, by the nature of the type of medicine that it is designed to keep your body from attacking itself,
Right.
thereby lowering your immunity. So when I get sick, I'm at a much higher uh, danger of having a relapse because you're building your antibodies up, and your antibodies will then maybe veer off and attack you in other places as
Wow.
opposed to attacking the COVID. So well, I got mop suits in there, and I ain't lying. I got
Mhm.
mop suits in there. I have literal mop suits in there. But here's another irony of life, right? My youngest daughter speaks Chinese, and she was going to go to Beijing in February of 2020.
Right before the shutdown.
Trip was signed, sealed, delivered, and paid for. And so I had my ear very, very much to the ground as to what was happening in China months and months and months ahead. So um, they actually have an event, a whiskey event at the liquor store here where they do the drawing where you can get Pappy Van Winkle if you're the lucky one, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
I ain't
I'm
mad
in
at
the
a little
line.
whiskey now.
Oh, we can talk about that forever. We can talk about that. I ain't never had no Pappy because I ain't never known no one that had it. but but what I hear is good. I can't tell you, but I can tell you some more stuff that's good. We'll
Hey now.
get on that.
Hey
Hey
now.
now. So I'm standing in the line because you can, I'm not gonna get the Pappy, but they have other stuff that you can get. Like in these special days, they just have all these overflowing stuff. And I'm standing in line, and just so happened, standing in front of me was the teacher who was the chaperone for the trip to Beijing.
Wow.
So me and him just get to chat about whiskey and, China, and he was like, "Man," so now some reports had already started coming, and I was like, "Hey, what's up with this thing going on over there right now?" And he
Yeah.
was like, "Man, I got my eyes on it, I got my ears out, and if, you know, it gets worse, we're gonna have to cancel, man." Like, so another ironic thing is my wife and I have never been to the West Coast. So, because I'm deathly afraid of earthquakes. So, so we were like, all right, I'm like, we're gonna do it. We're not going to California now because earthquakes. But how about we go to Seattle?
Hmm.
Ticket signed,
The
sealed, delivered.
the
Guess where?
Northwest.
Guess where the first case of COVID came in in the U.S. Right, I was like, this stuff is back there. I'm destined to die from this because this thing is following me around. And everywhere somebody try to go,
Hey,
elsewhere it
Terry.
pops up,
Hey, Terry.
right? So like I say, I had my ear to the ground. October, I where I went to Walmart and I bought everything. I'm telling you, bro, I bought everything. I called my best friend. I was like, I'm standing in Walmart right now buying this, 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 and this, and this. When you get off work today, go home and buy all of these things right
You
now. He was like, He's like, "You're crazy. What are you talking about right now?" I'm like, "Don't." I'm like, "Just call me crazy. I'll be crazy, but just please do what I'm telling you to do."
like Y2K. Everybody was getting water
Yeah.
and tissue, and it's the end. And then you woke up like, oh, it's Tuesday. Yeah.
Like, "No, brother, it's just a party. It's not the end. It's just a party. Prince told you about
Hey.
it." So, yeah, that is how the COVID came, and I was in this house, and I was spraying my mail with Lysol. I'm not playing. I was like, literally, I had sanitizer everywhere. I had gloves.
You
I
wasn't
had
man, sir.
my wife was making masks. We were like we still got some of them,
The boy in the plastic bubble.
but I still had to work
Yeah.
because we like to do this thing called eating. Um, um, but the first month where it really went down, that March, I had $3,000 worth of trips canceled on me because either the doctor's offices weren't open or the people were afraid to go to the doctor's offices and the hospitals, and I was like, "Huh, I
Hmm.
don't know what to do about that." So, but I had knowing since October, I had saved up money.
There you go.
So I had enough money to last for pretty much like I don't make that much money, but I can when you're a person that doesn't make a lot of money, you know how to make some money stretch, right? So I saved up when I got that tax return. I
Hey, now.
saved all of that back, bang, and then they came through with the stimulus, and that's when I was like, okay, this business, although a good one, is not pandemic recession proof. It's like I need to be able to do something where if my health takes a bad turn,
Yeah.
that I can still do it. And I was like, you know what I've always wanted to do? When I was a little boy.
Mhm.
It's a little boy. I used to lay under my coffee table in front of the fireplace at our house in Northeast, watch TV. And this dude had this fantastic. You remember this commercial, Trey? Where he was like, "This a great album. Can I borrow it?"
No, my brother. You got to buy your own.
And as great as that line is, it wasn't that. It was the dude that was talking about the albums, and it was the sounds of the '70s.
Yeah.
And I was like, "That's so cool, man." And then, I grew up around here. We got Donnie Simpson. We had PD. It's a
Daddy Simpson, the
yeah,
GOAT.
yeah.
Hi.
Green Hat Bandit, baby.
I mean, Donnie was
No,
that dude because growing up in Florida, we knew at 8 o'clock, BET was gonna come on. I'm like, first of all,
for sure.
ain't that some CP for the black network?
8 o'clock at
They
night.
gonna come on till 8 o'clock. So what you doing? What you doing for the first 14 hours of the day? Like some dude in there sleep, like, hey man, it's time. You can bet on it. It's on bet. BET Black Entertainment. I'm like, they got a whole theme song. And all of a sudden, you just saw this dude with pretty hair. Hi, I'm Donnie Simpson, and welcome to a new episode of Video Soul. Like, who this old smooth brother is?
Right? Who's
Who
this
are
cat?
you? And he had that little laugh. Coming up, we got a brand new video from. I'm like, who is this dude? That was
Yeah,
really my first introduction because I had family in DC, but I had never gone to DC. So I'm like, is all the DC dudes smooth? Like walk around like, hey, how are
pretty
you?
much. Pretty much it.
So no, I get it, man. Those same voices that you heard, I was kind of like, yeah, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's pretty
shout out
yeah.
to Donnie Simpson if you happen to stumble upon this podcast in this particular episode. Salute Radio Hall of Famer
Donnie Simpson.
Donnie Simpson.
The Green-Eyed Bandit.
You kind of got that. You kind of got a little bit of him in there. I can hear you hitting like WPGC 9:30 a.m. You kind of got a little bit of Donnie in. Maybe
They
it
let me have it, I would love it. Please let me do the call letters. Please, please.
is. And David Haynes, rest in peace. It's
Ah,
Friday.
brother, I
But
was just talking about David Hayes last week, man. Just talking about David Hayes last week. People don't David Hayes, George Michael,
yeah, the sports machine.
Sports Machine was the first that was a real first sports center. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
real talk. He hit that little button. through the use of the sports machine, and now you getting highlights. I'm like,
I was like this. What's that? Let's let's go and see that. Yes.
and it
Uh,
threw me off too because I'm like, he ain't the George Michael I know.
that look a
Oh,
little. Uh,
mm-mm. He's
uh,
like, hey everybody, this is George Michael, and this is the sports machine. And he don't sound like the George Michael I know. But all right, he do sports, so I'm into that. So let's
yeah,
let's
basically,
go.
he was our local sports guy.
Yeah, he was and then they made into a nationally syndicated show
Yeah,
because he was on WRC.
yeah.
And I'm like, so you got a job, and your job's so good that they want everybody to see it. Because after my local news regardless, like, stay tuned for the sports machine with George Michael, and I'm going. So the
Yep.
dude that sing Kelly's Whisper do sport. I'm just waiting to hear this dude. Hello, this is George Michael, and this is the sports machine. The Washington Redskins defeated the Chicago Bears by, but it wasn't.
Slow down there, player. Slow down. Don't talk about my bears, man. Why you had to do that? I had to go there. That was real petty.
That
That was
was
real petty.
long time ago. You see, I said Redskins because they're the Commanders now, even though they lost that game
You know
too.
what you did. That was petty.
Sorry about that. But no, some of the same voices. Yeah, that commercial, Time Life, whatever it was, and better hurry, act now, and you can get 2 cassettes. Like, oh, you can
Yes.
get the album and cassette. Oh,
Oh,
there's some old players right now. Like, let me or rotary. Let me go on and call this real quick.
don't miss no numbers. Don't miss no numbers.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. So as
Yeah.
as a young man, you saw these commercials and was like, yeah, that's cool to me.
That and Optimus Prime, man. That's it. That was it for me. It was Fenoi, Optimus Prime. Those are I was like, I want to do this. I don't know what this is, but I want to do that.
I want some of that.
I want to do that. That's the thing I want to do. You know.
Yeah, for me, it
And
was a guy, and I eventually found out his name. Um, Charles Van Dyke or Charlie Van Dyke. He used to do um all of he was the announcer for our local station in Miami, WTVJ Channel 4. And he just had he had a rasp that every other word it shook. So if he's like, you're listening to WTVJ Channel 4,
oh, I love that.
he had that little rumble, and then the
Yeah.
music that went with it, is like with Ralph Rennick, Weaver the Weatherman, and Tony Segreto with sports. He knew just how to get that. This is News 4 at 11,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Yes.
as a kid, I don't care about the news. Riots are going on all through the city. I'm like, that's cool. What a dude that talk.
Right. Where that guy? Where
Where is
that
he? And then as I got older, and ironically, when I lived in DC, this is how I knew that you could be an announcer for more than one station, because when I got my first apartment, and I was like, okay, let me see what it kind of what's TV like in DC, and I turned to WBAL, which is in Baltimore, and
Mhm.
I heard live, local, late breaking. This is I said, that's the same dude in Miami. I'm like, what are you doing up here? Because I had no idea. I'm just like, I just thought he was for the city. I'm like, he cheating on us. He up here in Baltimore. I'm like, that's
He was in
unfair.
Richmond. He was
You know what I'm saying? He was everywhere. And it was him and a dude named Robert W. Morgan. He was the announcer on Solid Gold.
and the
And
Sun Gold
right,
Dancers.
and what I thought was cool about him, Wailing Flowers and Madam. And now here's your host, Marilyn McCoo. I was like, but I had never heard, because usually, and as you know, in this business, as you know, people who do voiceover and announcing, at the end of a show, or if you've done a commercial spot, you don't go, and this was Tre Mosley giving you that commercial. That it's
And
never
the joke
about us.
yo, it's not about
But
you.
for him, it was like, for solid gold, this is Robert W. Morgan. I'm like, oh, you get to tell people who you are?
They used to do that back in the early to late
Yeah.
70s. This is Rob Roddy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They used
Like,
to do that. And then that just went away in the 90s completely.
yeah, because only person that still does it, I think Johnny Gilbert for Jeopardy. He used to, I don't know if he still does. And the dude, I think his name was Gene Wood. He was the one for Family Feud. Like, this is Gene Wood for Family Feud, a Mark Goodson production. I'm
It's a
like,
production
why they get to say their names?
because they've been there for so long. That's what
Because
they
before,
become part of the lore of the show.
very true. Because I
Yeah.
remember when Rob Roddy took over for the other dude, which is funny because I remember the first guy being there longer than Rob Roddy, but then when the other dude passed away, Rod took over, and now I cannot think of the previous dude's name. And
I don't know. I don't remember a time where Roddy didn't do it. I
yeah,
don't remember.
yeah, there was a dude before him. Matter of fact, that same guy was the voice for the Match Game. It's a cavalcade of stars or whatever the thing was. With the old left Gene Rayburn. He had that microphone that was like
The
thin
pencil
as a
joint,
pencil.
the
I mean,
oh,
that joint. It
the
was
Don
like
Cornelius.
it
He
was
had the
like
Don
this.
Cornelius.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Match Game, and we got Joanne Flug and all these people and Charles Nelson Riley and all these folk. That microphone was like this.
I'm telling you, him and that's what's name?
Bob Barker too. I'm like, how
Bob
y'all
Barker.
talking in a little ballpoint pen? Like, how are you doing that? Too
I
much.
don't know how Don Cornelius' voice came into a microphone that skinny. I don't know how that happened.
They turned that.
I
They like turn the gain up. What's happening, gang? And stay tuned after these fine words from your local stations. Bing, 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 bing. And I'm like, okay, Soul Train. Our next guest says, but all of those dudes, man, kind of molded and shaped us into what we do. We just didn't know what it was called, but it sounded cool. If you got a chance to see the person, like like Don Cornelius, it looked cool. And it was like, I think I kind of like this. But when you sound like this, you can't do that. But
But you can do other things.
yeah.
You can be on the Smurfs.
Because Papa Smurf always says. Like, Brainy, shut up. So you had those influences. So
Yeah.
when COVID hit and you're like, all right, I'm kind of sitting around here twiddling my thumbs. What prompted you then to say, all right, I need to go and do this, and this to make this thing happen?
I saw one of those things on Facebook where they're like, you could make money from your blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Or I bet I can make money from yes. And so you know what? I was like, you know what? I'm gonna reach out. And so I went to one of those schools, right? And did my assessment. And the lady was like, you might actually be able to do this. But of course, they said that everyone
Yeah.
said,
They
of
want
course.
that. They want that money. You can bank on your voice for
Yeah, but I knew I
$5. Yeah.
I knew I could. I mean, I've always been a vocal chameleon. I was a singer, when I was back in my young buck days.
Hmm.
And I did spoken word poetry. And then when I was in college, I used to actually be a rapper. So I already knew that I had loquaciousness,
Oh, now
which is something that I've always used my voice for entertainment purposes, right? And you have a certain timbre to your voice. People like listening to you talk. I'd read stories. I'd volunteer to go to the elementary school and
I
read
used
books.
to do that when I was in DC.
It's the best thing in the world, man. It's
Yeah.
the best thing in the world. You get to do the characters. You know what I mean?
And there was,
They're looking
oh
at you like,
man,
"Oh my God, Mr. Briscoe, that's awesome." Like,
There was a school. So I worked for the NCTA, which was on Connecticut Avenue. And there was a school not too far from there that I would go and and read to the kids.
it's the
And,
best, man.
I would be the grizzly bear. I
Mhm.
would be the little kid that ran away. Don't eat me, Mr. Bear. I'm gonna and I mean, and they are like, what's gonna happen next? And I turn the page and who wants to know what happens next?
Yeah.
And the little boy got away. Yay! Like, it's like drama,
Yeah.
you
When they
know.
start asking if you're gonna come back, that's when you know that, like, "Alright,
The kids
yeah,
would rather sit and be read to than go out to recess.
yeah, yeah."
Like,
It's a good feeling. It's a good
yeah.
feeling. And it also happened to be my own child's class too, so
Oh,
that, that gives her some good points too, you know
see,
what I mean? So
cool
it's like,
points. Is your dad coming back? I guess. Dad, are you gonna come read again? Yeah. So I
it's
I did the same thing, man.
it's the literally most fun thing to do in the entire world. And so I go to the thing, get the assessment, and I sign up for one of those $6,000 programs. Like, we had just got the stimulus, so I was like, "I got the money. I need to get this thing."
Get it popping.
I so I went, and then I sat in that class, and then I sat in the first thing, and like, "Alright, you signed up for this," and I was like, let me pump the brakes on that. It's a pandemic, stupid." Like, you're you can't afford to shell out 6 grand, right? Because what if this lasts for a really long time?
Right.
What if your business never comes back? Like, what if you don't succeed? Which, honestly, that never once crossed my mind.
Yeah.
Not succeeding never once crossed my mind. It was the other stuff. It was like, "Well, okay." I was like, "Can't do that." And the lady was like, "Okay, so you can't do that. Well, how about just getting the coaching? That's $500." I was like, "Sold."
I can do that.
Sold. I could risk $500. And I started going online. I started looking up everything that I could look up about voiceover. And I was like, okay, I need to record my first coach, Tim Powers. Love that man to death. I don't know if I haven't introduced you to Tim, I'm going to, because he's a fantastic dude. He really, really, really took me under his wing and gave me much more. He's like one of my best friends right now. You know what I mean? Like, in
Hmm.
the world, he's become one of my best friends. Like, a member of my support system. So he gave me the game. Man, he's a vet. He's been doing it for over 20 years. He's, a improv guy. So gave me solid foundation. I started going online, figuring out how to build a recording space. This is not my original recording space. This is my homage to my original recording space. My blue back here. That's
How
folded
about
from my first from my first booth. What I built out of Owings Corning rigid
Oh, you
board.
okay?
Yeah. So I was like, okay, what can I do that gives me sound protection and I can use as walls? And so I scoured YouTube, and I found out, I was like, that's exactly what I want right there. So I bought 4 of those 4x8 panels,
Mhm.
and then bam, 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 bam. Took the excess, built the ceiling out of it, and it was no construction build. This is the most. I try to tell people all the time. They ask me, what about construction? What about your space? I was like, listen, you don't have money to buy a booth right now. I bought this booth out of money that I made from VoiceOver. You don't need this. I booked national jobs in this booth that I made with not a screw in it. It's it is duct tape and foam board, and then you buy acoustic foam and then you foam it up. That's it. It didn't even have, like, the door didn't open and close. You had to, like, it was a friction fit, but it worked. My noise floor was 60.
Yo.
Bam. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And so that's when I got my first union gig, and I got what I did, work that I did for the National MS Society. All of that from that booth that I built and that $500 worth of training. And then I actually did the thing that they will tell you never, ever, 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 ever to do. I went on Fiverr and hired someone to do my demo. I vetted them. They were somebody from the Netherlands. I vetted them, and
Mm.
I hired someone on Fiverr to write my scripts for me. And
Phew.
everybody's like, "Woo, woo, woo." And I say, "Yeah, well, you know what? Listen to my demo. tell me about it. Tell me about it. I paid $350 for my demo to get made.
So
Think about that.
how did that sound?
Well, it actually sounded pretty damn good.
Oh, well, there you go. Success story.
They sounded
Let
pretty.
that be a
Look,
lesson to you, kids.
See, I buried the lead. But I'm telling you, and I'm not saying that the people are wrong. This is not the quality of the demo that I can get now, but it was definitely of the quality where I could get going.
So the thing about that, um, Dan Leonard, former co-host of the
Voiceover body shop.
Voiceover Body Shop, I heard him say something when I first got into my VO career, and I used to, watch the show religiously. And he said, and I tell, the few people who I coach here and there, they was like, yeah, I saved up like 10 grand and I want to get a U87. And I'm like, is your room treated? Nah. Mistake number one.
Check.
Do you have a demo yet? Nah, because I'm coaching with you, and you said we was gonna do that after we done. Right. So why are you going to spend $3,000 on a U87? I said, listen, don't spend money that you don't need to be spending money on. But Dan's his quote, I think he said, don't spend money on gear to get the gig. You
Uh-huh.
get the gigs to spend the money on the gear.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And, oh, that does make sense. You think?
A little bit. A
Just
little bit.
mm,
Just a little tad bit. Like I got going in voiceover my first year for $1,000, including coaching. Coaching, demo, build my space. $1,000 because I was very diligent in the learning aspect.
mhm.
I was all about cross-referencing things and making sure I was like, okay, I can't afford to get. I could have gone out and bought a 416, but instead, I bought a USB mic that was highly rated in a good space.
There you
That
go.
here, it's
Yeah.
still.
I still have my very first mic and I'll never give him up.
Oh no, oh no, absolutely. Actually, you know what? That is not true. This is not the first mic that I had. Um, I bought that one because it's chrome and it's pretty, and but it's the same model that I had. But the first mic that I bought was a USB mic. It was also highly rated. And then a brother contacted me a couple of years ago, and as they see you, they reach out, and he was like, "What do I do?" I was like, "Well, first thing you gotta do is gotta get some coaching. You gotta get yourself a microphone." He was like, "Well, I don't have this. I don't have this." I was like, "You know what, man? I'm gonna send you my microphone. I'm gonna send you my first microphone and I boxed it up and I sent it to him."
You paid it forward. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%, absolutely. This interface that I have, which I didn't even know how to use an interface because I had USB mics, and in Tim Powers' group, the mic droppers, there's a lot of us, and there's 100 of us in there now, but we all look out for each other. We teach each other. About tech, about technique, all that type of stuff. I didn't know how to. I knew it was my agent was like, you gotta have an interface. Like, you gotta have an interface now. You're at the point right now where you gotta have an interface. And I was like, but I don't have any money.
Mhm.
And then, so I posted in the group. I was like, does anybody have like a cheap interface that I can buy, or I really need to step up my game? And then dude personally messaged me, and he was like, what do you need? And I was like, I just need an interface, man. But I'm gonna send you $175, and I bought this interface,
Focusrite.
Focusrite Scarlett Solo, and I had just people like, don't tell anyone. I'm not looking for recognition. I just want, when you start, just pay it forward. And I was like, I will forever do that. I will always pay it forward.
Yeah. it's cool. You know, I have an Apollo twin, and I got it because I used to have a Personas that a buddy of mine, we bartered. I did some VO stuff for him. He gave it to me when I first started out in VO. But the story behind the Apollo twin, Krista Warwick, um, she was selling it because she's like, I bought this and I don't even use it because I was looking for, you know, I wanted to get a good preamp as well. And she's like, I paid, I think they were going for like 700-800 at the time. I was like, and I think she sold it to me for like 3 or 4. And I was like, whoa,
Oh.
I could do that. And she sent it to me. This is my second 416. My first 416 it was gifted to me. A guy named Lee Penny, and I was in a
Wow.
I was in a
416.
I was in a chat or something, and I'm like, man, I don't care what kind of conditioner for. Somebody give me a 416, I'm gonna use the hell out of that mug. And like your buddy, I got a message like, hey, did you mean what you said about, you didn't care? I said, look, it could, you put a pig in a wig, as long as I can get the gig, I don't care.
Oh, man.
And he was like, Merry Christmas. I want to give you this one. I've had it for about 10 years. Because he
Uh-huh.
was starting to get away from VO. He had other interests and stuff that he was doing. Because I'm into RC cars, and he has an actual RC car business. Like
Oh,
they
sweet.
they build custom. I was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So he parlayed his VO into his other love, but within 2 days, man, I got certified mail wrapped in bubble plastic, and the 416. I still got the picture of it when I first got it to let him know that I received it, and I had that 416 from 2017, and I gave it away last year. There's a guy I was in a virtual workshop with, um, named Karan Kumar, and he was in the process of moving from California to DC, as a matter of fact. So if you're watching this, buddy, and I was like, he's like, yeah, something happened, and I know because they drove cross country, and somebody broke into, like, I think they had like one of the U-Haul things and took some of his stuff, and
Oh,
I'm like, let me know when you get once you guys get settled. And I shipped him my 416. I said, she will serve you well. Enjoy it. And she's still in good condition. And this
but
was actually, so it's a thing where I had a sense of pride that, hey, someone gave me a 416, and then I in turn gave someone else. So this one holds a little bit more sentiment to me because this is the first one that I purchased. So in 15 years of doing VO, I got this one uh last year. I bought it. And it's like, that's mine right there. And while I appreciated Lee for giving me his, I always felt like, I'm not gonna keep this 416 for long. Somebody's going to come along, and
uh-huh.
I'm gonna be like, "Here," because that's the only way that I'm gonna get one of my own. I have to give this one away. And, yeah, man, it was just real dope, like, I got a 416, and I paid for that, you know?
And
It used to be a
you're
hashtag that said, voiceover got me this, and different things that people were able to do, like, or voiceover got me here, or because voiceover. So if I was to hashtag, I'd be like, because voiceover. Hi there, and I got Soundwave. He be chilling. He just,
I thought that was Soundwave. I was gonna ask you.
yeah,
Gonna
you
ask
know.
you.
I mean, hello, how apropos to have a sound wave next to a microphone because they create, so yeah. Um, so and I before we wrap up because you have literally had to reinvent yourself. Not just in careers, but life-changing reinvention.
Yeah.
Um, doing what you do now in voiceover full time, do you ever have days where, you're like, nah, today I need to just back away and my body's talking to me. Today ain't one of them days. I need to just do what I gotta do. Like how do you manage um still being husband, wife, dad, now super dope VO dude, and have this thing inside you that still won't let you be great, but you like the hell with you, I'm gonna be great anyway because I'm just great like that. But then you had them days where it's like you're not great today, and you like how do you deal with that on a day-to-day basis?
Well, first, I'm not technically full-time voiceover yet.
It's coming.
Although I put in full-time hours, I'm not technically full-time. Um,
It's
until oh, it's coming. Oh,
it's
it's
coming.
coming. It's definitely coming. Definitely coming. 2025, I'm thinking, yeah, we're gonna do that.
It's
Um, the body must be listened to lest ye fall out in the middle of streets.
coming.
That is a very real reminder.
Yeah.
Very real reminder. So I'm fortunate. I'm super fortunate that I did not get it later on in life.
Hmm.
Also, I'm very fortunate that I got a diagnosis before I even got a diagnosis. So I have been able to keep a lot of my functionality. I have my challenges, like, everybody that, has a disability or just, whatever you get going on, everybody has challenges. Um, there are very few days where I just can't do anything,
Yeah.
right? Um, I tell you what's challenging is doing an audiobook with COVID. That's challenging. That's challenging. Well, let's not even go there. Um,
No, sir.
listen to the body. I take naps. I'm a big napper. In fact, right before I got on with you,
Yeah. It's time to do the show.
I had to take me
Oh
a
boy.
little snooze. Um, about an hour and a half. If I can get it, I'll take 2. But, just enough to make sure the battery
Yeah.
stays charged. Can be. Um, and on days where you can't go, you can't go, man. You just can't. You can't do it, and you have to give yourself you have to give yourself permission. That's a big thing, a big saying in our industry. You have to give yourself permission.
Right.
You also have to give yourself permission to not do it sometimes. Do the thing as much as you can, but when your body is telling you no, you gotta listen.
Gotta listen.
Gotta listen.
So
Yeah,
I
because
wanna
important.
yeah, absolutely. Um, they have this cliche of well, I want to give you your flowers now. I'm gonna dap you up, bruh. Recently it had come out that, for you to be doing VO in such a short time, but you have had good success. You were invited to speak at VO Atlanta next year,
Yes,
talking about you and a very dope panel about living with MS and being a voice actor. So I just wanted to be like, hey, that's tight work, and go kill it because I still don't know if I'm going or not. But if I am there, I will come to your panel. Uh,
come on.
but talk about how that came about and how did you find other individuals who were willing to share their story because sometimes folks don't like to talk about what they're going through.
Yeah,
What did you say and or do that was like, come on, man, this would be cool. I think people need to know. How did it all come about?
You know, it was them that invited me actually. You know, D Alvis.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's one of my favorite people that I've met in this industry by far. I love that brother. I actually met him right after I met you.
Yeah.
And I walked over, introduced myself to you.
Mm-hmm.
I went outside, hang out outside, doing stuff we're not supposed to be doing. And Rebel just comes up to me and we just start chatting. And then I discovered he was from Baltimore. You know, I went to Towson University. I lived in Baltimore. It's like
Yeah.
we just chatting about that. And he was actually, I think, at that conference, he was staying with he was roommates with Mark Ryder.
Okay.
And Ryder asked him, he's like, when you gonna be on one of these panels, man? So he kind of laughed it off and was like, no, seriously. You just got to find out what makes you unique in the industry. What do you bring to the industry that like no one else is bringing to the industry? And I was like, and he was like, stored that away, right? And he saw me and him hit it off immediately. I think I met Doug Bartling, the Quad Father, best voiceover nickname maybe of all time. Maybe of all time.
Wow.
I met him briefly there as well. I don't know if you met Doug. Doug's an awesome dude as well. And I met Tony Jackson earlier. I don't think I had met Amy Geronimi yet, and I hadn't met Tina Wilson. And Keyston, I met Keyston White in Zoom calls with Terry and Nicole when we had the e-learning course together. So I had a pretty good rapport with most of the people that are on the panel already. He came up with the idea, and then he asked me because, you know, I don't hide the fact that I have multiple sclerosis. I like to consider myself an advocate. I like to vocalize, you know, educate, get the word out there,
That's right.
you know, do fundraisers, etc. And he contacted me. He was like, "Hey, man, I'm thinking about pitching this idea to J. Michael and Anna Collins about, you know, maybe doing a panel in Atlanta. Would you be down?" And I'm like, "Wow, that sounds amazing." And I'm looking at myself like, okay, so I'm one of those people that has the invisible, the invisible disability, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't walk with a limp most days. Most days, some days I do, but most days I do not. Um, I'm not in a chair. I didn't even shout my man Carlin Tools out, who I also met at VO Atlanta that year, and he also has MS as well.
Oh wow.
Um,
Okay.
yeah. Um, but all of us were contacted. I was like, I would absolutely love to do it. We're gonna have people on the stage with wheelchair. Tina Wilson is visual; she's blind. Amy Geronimi runs the database for disabled voice actors. Like everybody's very visible, and then I'm just gonna be sitting there looking like regular dude guy. Just like, they're like, but they were like, there's value in that as well because you know there's gonna be people in the audience that have disabilities that are not necessarily visible as well, and they need to be represented for too.
Yeah.
And I was like, absolutely, 100%. Let's do this.
You're an ambassador, sir.
Maybe I should wear like a sash or something. Cummerbund.
The ambassador of Quan.
Yes. Yes. Oh, you were killing me.
Yeah. I when it comes to movie and trivia, I got a bunch of them.
Definitely gonna partner up with you when we do that at VO Atlanta.
Hey, listen, you want to win? If you want to win the trivia game, you can come get your boy. All right, sir. We have come to the conclusion of this podcast. And aptly named Take Time Out with Tre Mosley. I always ask my guests at the conclusion of said podcast. Terry Briscoe. I'm sorry, Ter Briscoe. Because if you ain't from the area, you don't understand. Shout out to Kitty Kaboom. But Mr. Briscoe, sir, the masses would like to know, MS ambassador and all, how does Terry Briscoe take time out for himself?
multiple ways. Um, and I really, really, really enjoy that one cup of coffee that I have in the AM.
Man, you know what I want to hear.
Man.
I have to ask as a host, but if you don't come on and
You want the real? Okay. No, the real. You know I throw that grill out, man. You know how we do. You know how we do. I make the best chili in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll tell you. Ask BZ, you know.
I've heard, yes, I've heard tell. I've heard tell.
Yeah, man, I cook, man. That's what I do. You know, I enjoy cooking. I'm getting ready to go make something right now. Getting ready to go make something right now. Hey.
Yeah, because when I heard you say that, you were a cook in the military, I'm like, that explains it all. That
Okay, let me explain something to your audience now. Military cooks get bad rap. And it's for good reason, but you need to understand why that is. Let me look into the camera. Let me not look at you. Everybody that cooks in the military is a good cook. However, when you're cooking for 400 people, you can't season the food because of food allergies.
Mm.
That is why hospital and military cooks get bad raps, but they can all burn. Trust and believe they can all burn. So yeah, that's what I do. I like to really love to. My dad made the best chili in the entire world, and when he passed on, he took that recipe with him. Sadly enough, only my brother knew it, and he just passed away earlier this year.
Ah,
So I had to create my own Briscoe chili, and I actually have two different versions. There's the white version with chicken breast and ground turkey, and then there's the meatier of the two, which is the red chili, where I use my steak
hey
and
now,
ground bison.
hey now.
Yeah,
So
we
I have a question.
yes, sir.
I have developed in my elder years a disdain for spicy foods. Is your
Oh,
chili spicy?
what would you consider spicy on a level of like? Can you eat
So
jalapenos,
hot sauce,
habanero?
I can't do nothing with hot sauce.
Nothing with hot sauce.
No, if it's a chili pepper,
Not even crystal.
look here, man. Now I'm gonna look at you. No,
All right, fair enough.
because
I can make it any way you need it to be made.
my constitution will be rewritten if I taste something with hot sauce. So my wife's cousin is a chef. She went to Wellesley,
Okay.
and she had a crab boil once. Crabs was shout out to Tracy Lindley. The crabs was bussin', but my lips felt like and looked like I had third-degree burns
They use that slap your mama on that.
because no, she reused a pot that she used from previous crab boils that had a whole bunch of seasonings. So
Gotcha.
all those herbs and spices and seasonings that was real, that might have been from that first initial cook. Well, got a little kick to it, but you let it sit there
Yeah.
and sit there and sit there. Like, come on, y'all get some crabs. I'm like, hey, crab. This is good. My skin, it's okay. It ain't that bad. They did not see me for 45 minutes. I am in the latrine. Sorry, y'all go hear this story. Sweating
Sweat.
profusely. I'm sweating like ATF outside looking for me, and I'm they abandoned a criminal. I'm like,
I'll pick it up what you put down.
so I had to let them and everyone else know when you make something. I'm like, how hot is it? Because sometimes you go to restaurants and think, it's a kick. No, I need to know how hot is it. Damn a kick. How hot is it? Because what I'm not going to do is eat. Because sometimes there's certain foods,
I know.
you'll eat it and you're like, oh, that ain't bad. and then you eat more and more of it, and the kick becomes a full whoopah. And you like, I've had too much. Excuse me for a moment. And then Tre is gone for the rest of the night. So yeah, if I'm going to sample your wares, kind sir, you need to have the everybody version. Like
Gotcha.
this little small little pot right here, this one, the little Dutch pot, that's just for Tre.
That's just Tre.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Tre the punk is over here like, oh, okay, okay, we good, okay, and don't cross the spoons either. I'm like, let me use this spoon.
Woo!
All you gonna see is like where he went, he gone. So
Tre gone.
yeah, so yes, he can get down. We're in a group where we like to show pictures of what we cooked and stuff, and he be bringing,
Vocal.
yeah, vocal fry. How about that? So yeah, I had to get that out of the way. But other than barbecue, like what else do you like to do, sir?
I love going to the lake and just walking around, man. I used to love playing basketball, but that was stolen from me. Um, yeah, that was a sad one. I really that was my, it used to be my zen, my peace. Whenever I had, to think something over, or something was bothering me, if I was angry or whatever. Even when I was sick, I used to go out and sweat it all out.
Mhm.
Basketball used to be my answer, and it was video games. And VoiceOver took that, not stole it, but VoiceOver kind of took that away from me because I just don't have time to play video games as much as I used to anymore. But I'm a huge animation fan, and I prefer the American style animation, like the DC kind. They're, and the Avatar. Yeah, it was made, I believe, the best show ever made.
Wow,
Fight me. Fight me. I believe that is the best show ever made.
even better than Justice League?
It is actually, and Justice League was really good. But yes, even better than Justice. Our character arcs on that show, unparalleled. Unparalleled. Yeah.
All right.
No. Give me a minute, honey. Hold on.
That's our cue because they like
Yes, so
the zombies are at the door. The well, with that, tell the folks how they can find you and see what you're doing and all that good stuff and learn more about who you are.
well, just go to my website, briscoevo.com. Everything, all the links are there. Samples, everything that you need to know is there. And check out my live podcast that we do every other Thursday. Next Thursday will be the next one coming up, and we will be doing some stuff about this show that I'm in called Leo Braun, which is a fantastic production. If you haven't checked that out on Spotify, everywhere where you can get podcasts, check that out. But the Microphone Insider is our podcast where you see myself, Jim Frank, and the ever so lovely Rebecca Lee. And we do it live, and it's crazy. Come check that out.
Indeed, indeed. Well, sir, this has been enlightening, entertaining, informative, and I told you we get a little goofy sometimes. So again, Donnie Simpson, I'm just saying, if you see this, bro, and you want to come on the show, I would love to, interview you for a change. My eyes ain't green, but I'm just saying, you know, all the ladies, how you pull Donnie Simpson to get on your show? I used to love me some Donnie. They'd be just sitting there like this. Because he's from
Kitty know him. Kitty know him.
because he's from Detroit, and I don't know them Detroit players. You can imagine him back in the day with them green eyes.
Oh,
Hey, I'm Donnie, and then he's a twin.
with a zoot suit. Oh,
So
woo.
imagine Donnie, and I think his brother's name is Lonnie. So Lonnie and Donnie walking in, and they probably there's a style called breed. There's a hairstyle. So they walk in all breed up, and they got them smooth. Hi there, I'm Donnie. This is Lonnie. And the girls is like, whatever. I'm just saying, Donnie Simpson. Holla at your boy. Let's have some fun, man. If you can give me about an hour of your time, I would so appreciate it. But on that note, we're gonna let this young man rumble and do his thing. That is Terry Briscoe. I am Tre Mosley. And We will catch you on the next episode. And until then, take time out for yourself. Tell the good folks bye, Terry.
See y'all later.
Thanks for listening to the Take Time Out with Tre Mosley podcast, part of the Titan Media Network. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, or wherever you get your podcast. To see the video version of this, you can find us on YouTube on the Take Time Out with Tre Mosley YouTube page. Thanks for listening, or thanks for watching. Either way, we'll see you next time.